Rich, I don't know if you know this, but Jerry and I are neighbors, and you and I are acquainted because your old neighbor, Troy Anderson, is my
Yeah.
childhood best friend, fellow mountain biker. And he was telling me this crazy story about his neighbor, Rich, who started videotaping stuff, and then it turned into a full-time job, and he moved. So for the listeners, can you just give us the background of how you got started and how you ended up in Bentonville, Arkansas?
Wow. I can. Yeah. Yeah. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. And I'll start by saying Troy is a rad dude. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorite people on the planet. And he's coming up here to Bentonville soon. So I'm excited to spend some time with him. Ended up moving to Dallas, and my brother had an extra bike. He was still in Phoenix, and he shipped that thing out to me. And I needed something from the bike shop. So I go to the bike shop and I see this poster for the Dorba Fall series. And it's like, those moments in the movies where like you hear the angels, ah, that was my moment. It was like, this is it. It's your calling to go race this thing called cross country. And I was a little hesitant about wearing the kit. I was thinking, I don't know if I can do that. And so I wrote him an email and I said, I see this category 3 thing and it just wouldn't be fair. I should race category 1, but I'll settle for category 2. How's that? And the response came back like, oh dude, yeah, you do what you need to do. And so I show up in my baggy shorts and my sleeveless jersey to show my guns. And I'm looking around and these dudes are all 50 pounds lighter than me, like full kits, full race bikes. And I'm thinking, this might've been a bad idea. And I just got worked. Like
Yeah.
I got handed it 13th, I think. And I thought my heart was going to come out of my chest. And, I realized I need some fitness, some very specific biking fitness. But I also realized something else. I realized as far as bike handling goes, there was a lot left out there. Like a lot of the guys, I would catch them even though I was incredibly winded. So I thought, there's something here. And long story short, I start getting some fitness, and so I take it seriously and I go win a state championship. And there's one left race, the high noon shootout at Warda. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to move up to Cat 1 and I can ride Open Pro. And I still at this point really don't know much of what I'm doing, but I got a sweet Focus hardtail, brand new scratch kit. Like I'm ready to go. 50 people in the race, and guys I follow on Instagram, Payson McKelvin, among other people, Tristan Yule, just a lot of really, really fast riders. And man, I just, the gun went off and we took off, and I kind of stepped outside myself and watched myself do this race. And it was the coolest experience. People screaming, the short course format. I'd never done that before. It's like, I just was riding my bike, and before I knew it, I was coming into the last lap. I was in 7th. Even at my fittest, I was never anywhere near as fit as the top people, but I could get by, I think, with bike handling ability, things that just didn't mean anything to me. I could relax and recover. Other people were putting out a lot more effort. So long story short, I got some support, and enduro became more of a thing. And that was more where I fit in. And in order to pay the bills, I was a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company. Because as we all know, it's nearly impossible to make a living racing a bike in the US.
Yeah.
And as a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company, the outside of my territory was this really crazy place called Bentonville, Arkansas, I think, or Arkansas. I'm not quite sure what they called it back then. And so I came here and it was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And, I kept coming back over and over again. And I saw things really exploding around mountain bikes. And there came a time where almost 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, if I'm going to make a go of this, if I'm going to support my family around my passion for bikes and teaching other people, it's going to be in Bentonville. Yeah. And I just decided kind of to go for it. And we really didn't have much of a plan. We sold our house, and my wife, Sarah, my son, Dexter, we moved here to Bentonville, and it is the best decision I think I've ever made in my life. The best race I ever had in my life was Big Sky, Montana, and the pre-ride went horrible. I crashed violently. I got it on film. And I got down to the bottom of the mountain like, dude, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to race tomorrow. Wake up, I switch bikes. So the mechanic is trying to get the bike right there in the background ready. And people are just going, dude, that's a bad idea. Get back on your other bike. And I said, no, you know what, dude, I need to ride this other bike. And I went up the lift, and all I said was just technique. Like all I'm going to focus on is my technique. My confidence is really lacking. How can I get it back? I can focus on the technique. It's an incredibly fast series of tracks, but there's a lot of key turns. And what I said to myself was, if I can maximize my speed and efficiency through the turns, I won't have to go as fast everywhere else. And that's literally what I did. And I got through the end of the first run, and that's all it took. Like, I got done, I came to the finish, and I just shook my head and said, yep, I'm going to win. And I'm not sure if I'm going to win every stage, but I just might. And with each stage, it got better and better. And literally all it was focusing on technique in turns. And one of the best things I ever heard was speed is a byproduct of good technique. And speed, safety, fun, they're also byproducts of good technique, surprisingly.
So I noticed in a lot of your videos, you're always riding wheelies. And while it's entertaining and it's incredible to see the skill, do you think it's also an important way to be grounded to your bike, to have trust in it, to feel one with it?
It's so funny that you say that, man. Hardly anybody ever comes back to that. And yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. Like, part of why I do that is to like you said, to ground myself. Like, I get on my bike and I just wheelie out of my garage right down the street, and it's just, it puts me where I need to be. It's just, for me, that's something it's really fun, but it allows like my mental acuity to really sharpen, because it's this tiny little movement and finding that fulcrum point and just sitting there. And yeah, it's one of those things that if you're a bike rider, that's a great skill to have, because it's not very complex. It's pretty simple. It's not easy. It's difficult. It takes a long time to get to where you're comfortable with that balance point. But once you get there, man, it's a really powerful thing. Like, it's an incredible feeling to do it. And it's just fun. So
Yeah.
fun.
There was actually a small sidestep, the narrating within your helmet. That's really good quality. Do you have a lapel mic or something in your helmet, or is it just a?
No. So that is, it's a mount on the chin.
Mhm.
So there's a Velcro mount that goes on and actually holds the GoPro out in front. And I remember we talked about it. I normally just wear the GoPro on my chest, and the audio is pretty decent. But the crew on that shoot, it was Andy and Brock, and they said, dude, we need better audio. Like, you have to wear this.
Okay.
And I looked at it and was just like, oh man, I'm going to want to punch myself in the throat if I wear that.
Yeah.
And it looks so goofy. It's like this big giant contraption hanging off your chin. And I went and did a couple runs, and we listened to the audio, and I said, I told you guys I should wear that. The audio is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you think it's just, yeah, it's incredible. The audio is really good, but the picture is really good as well.
So I think the last time I was in Dallas, I went mountain biking with Troy, and we were at around the lake. We were doing the lake trail there, and he was like, "Yeah, you see that rock right there? Rich used to jump that, and he'd land over here." And I'm like, "What?" He showed me all these lines that you had, and I'm just thinking,
That's
like,
funny.
is there anything that you look at and you just say, "No, that's too big. I'm not going to do it."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I go to Phoenix and I ride with my brother, there's some things I'm slowly checking them off, but yeah, it's funny, man. It's all, it's all relative. Like, my audience, I grew it, and they looked at me and they thought, okay, this guy is at a certain level. I went to the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, and I got a game of bike together with Kyle Warner and Joey Foresta, which I have no problem saying those dudes are way out of my league.
Right.
And I was really excited for that video to showcase that to people. Like, the depths of talent that some of these people have, it's incredible. And, I'm really okay with looking at something and going, nope, that's not for me. Can it be done? Can I do it? Possibly, but I'm not gonna, because it doesn't make sense. But, I think there's a lot of things out there that, if you're confident in your ability,
Mhm.
you understand the physics behind it, the dynamics that's going to be created, I think you can make a pretty good strategic decision on whether or not you're going to be successful or not. And, you know, at the very least, if somebody's rolling a camera, it's going to be exciting. So it's a win either way. If I make it, people are like, oh, that's awesome. And if I don't, they think it's cool that I posted me failing on something. So
Yeah.
it's a win either way.
The N+1, global yet very local cycling podcast, brought to you by Lowlands Cycling.